Hi everybody, hope you're doing well. Today I wanted to share with you a psychic story. You know, those who watch me have heard a lot of my psychic stories, and they always have some hidden meaning behind them, and I love them. And like I say to everybody, when a client comes to me, whether it's through the phone or through an in-person session, I never know what's going to come out. So it's just as much of a surprise to me as it is to you. But they are a wonderful message all the same. So what I wanted to say to you is, one day I got these two lovely ladies that came to see me, and they both each had separate sessions. And they said that they had a wonderful psychic medium that they dealt with for years, but she had passed away. And I felt so bad to hear that, because I do understand when you have somebody you connect to. It's a tough one. It just is. But long story short, they decided to try me. They had tried 6 others and not a go. They weren't happy. And I said, okay, well, this is going to be some pressure here, you know. But I just thought, you know what, Suze, just be you. I'm not going to think of and put more pressure on myself. And let's see if I can connect and see what comes through. So one of the ladies, her husband had passed away. And I kept seeing a squirrel. I thought, that's odd. Why am I seeing a squirrel? So as I'm talking to her, I says, I know this is going to sound crazy. I says, but I keep seeing a squirrel. As soon as I'm making contact with your husband, I see a squirrel. What the heck is that about? She goes, all right. She says, now you're freaking me out. I says, okay, why? She says, well, when my husband was alive, there was a squirrel that always used to come by our backyard, and my husband would feed the squirrel. My husband ended up having a relationship with the squirrel. He just had a soft spot for the squirrel, and he would feed him, and everything was always good, and he would only come up to my husband. He would always run away from everybody else. My husband would literally feed this sweet squirrel out of his hand. So it got to be their thing. Time goes by, and one day the squirrel got mangled by another animal and was very, very sick. So the squirrel could barely walk and came up to her husband, and he was like, what the heck happened? Oh my God. So her husband nursed this squirrel. He put it in a cage, and he brought it in the house in the cage, and he nursed it. This squirrel was literally almost dying, left for dead. So one day the wife now looks at the squirrel, and she doesn't see the squirrel breathing. So she calls her husband up immediately, and she tells him that she thinks the squirrel is gone. Husband leaves work immediately, and he comes. As soon as the squirrel heard his voice and he goes up to the cage, the squirrel perked up. She says, oh my God, he wasn't breathing. She says, I was watching him. As soon as he heard you, this squirrel loved him. He actually nursed it back to health, and I found that to be so beautiful. So time goes by again. He's feeding the squirrel like every morning, and now her husband gets sick. And the squirrel now comes to him and rests its little face onto him. Now, kids and animals, I always say, have such a sixth sense. But this squirrel knew that this man wasn't well. Now it was his turn. And this squirrel, believe it or not, was there for him. Not for food, but came up to him. And I'll tell you something, as this sweet lady was telling me, I started to cry. My eyes were so welted with tears, because the power of what an animal can do for someone's soul. And I thought to myself, and who says animals don't know? This animal had such joy and love, and they formed a bond. And this man was for this squirrel every step of the way to help him. And then it was this man's turn. Well, you know the ending of the story. This man passed away. But this man passed away with great love and empathy for this animal, an animal of the wild. And this animal was here to give him that love back. That to me was priceless beyond words. Priceless. And how special he was to be able to calm a wild animal such as a squirrel, but how old of a soul that squirrel. They had this bond together. That to me was something. So as I was making contact with her husband, he was showing me the squirrel. And he let this woman tell me this magnificent true story. So it isn't more about being kind to animals. It's being who you are and showing kindness, whether it's a human being, an animal, whatever it is. Be kind and let your soul bring out the best in you because of it. So, yes, this man has passed, but what a beautiful story he was trying to show me by showing me this squirrel. And I was so, I don't know, honored, I guess is the word I'm looking for, to have this wonderful woman come to me as a client. Since then, I've had another reading with her over the phone and making beautiful connections with her loved ones. And she said, "Susan, I'll love you forever." And I said, "I am so happy I met you." She goes, "Me too." She says, "I lost a very good psychic medium who became a very dear friend, but I made a new one, and it's in you." So her and her husband, special people, special qualities. When you have these qualities, this is what makes everything so beautiful. And people and animals, such as this story, has taught so many, especially me. I hope this has enlightened you the way it's enlightened me. And for all of you out there that are pet lovers, keep doing what you're doing. Seriously, because what these animals teach us is quite a beautiful thing. Allow yourself to get close to some sort of an animal that can give you something back. Till next time, subscribe to YouTube, Facebook. All my love each and every day. And if you have a pet, give them an extra hug from me. Until then, take care. Love you, all of you. Bye-bye.